Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review and join the conversation on Instagram at Candy Washington. Let's go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. As always, I am your host, Candy Washington, and I am honored to help you live a more joyful life. So today's episode is Adult Bullies Do Exist. Here's how not to be one, and maybe also some insights on how to deal with bullies if you have them in your current life. But before we dive into today's episode, be sure to subscribe to my channel, follow the podcast, like, rate, review, subscribe, and share, because your journey to self-love and self-worth is always better with a little bit of community and support. Speaking of support, if you need additional support, you can definitely click the link in the description box or in the podcast show notes where you can grab some one-on-one coaching. You can grab the Journey to Self-Love Journal, join our free Facebook VIP group, and also get the Art of Self-Love Masterclass. That is 100% free. Hello, everyone. Yay. That's right, you guys. As you come in, be sure to say hi and also be sure to write down any questions you have or just any thoughts you have, because I really want this to be an interactive Q&A. I will go over my insights, but feel free to ask questions and join the conversation. If you're listening on the podcast, don't forget to join us over on the YouTube channel as well, so you can get that in real-time interactivity. So with that, let's dive in. So what inspired this episode of Adult Bully Do Exist is something that happened to me a couple years ago. I was at a influencer event. It was like a really fun brunch, and there was a bunch of us together. And unfortunately, I mean, less now, but back then, sometimes I would be the only brown or black person at the event. And it would be a lot of, other races, but usually sometimes I'd be the only brown or black face. But there was another girl there. I'll call her Nora. I don't want to say anybody's names. Hey, Carla. Hey, Vodka. How are you? I don't want to say anybody's names, but she and I was kind of like befriended each other. We're one of the only two brown people at the event, right? And so we were having the brunch, and she had made some comment about, uh, Kardashians made curvy bodies, cool and trendy, but that trend is over. And then she kind of looked at me and laughed and was like, like Candy has like the biggest butt in here. And the way she said it was just very derogatory and rude. And to make the comment, the Kardashians made everybody's like curves cool, but it's not cool anymore. That trend is over. And then to single me out saying I had the biggest butt of everybody there, when all the other girls are, they're not brown girls. They're very, very thin. And I'm personally by no means overweight. And even if I were, that wouldn't matter. And it just really hurt that she would do that she would single me out and she would say something about my body. And I kind of felt bullied. She did it to get a laugh. She did it to see if she could, single me out and be like the cool person at the table making fun of somebody else. But it totally backfired, because a little beknownst to her, those girls were also my friends too, and they had my back. And they're like, that's not funny. That's not cool. You're always making these type of comments or whatever. So it made me realize, like, just because we're not in high school anymore doesn't mean that they're still not bullying. And that's just one story, but think about social media, think about at work, think about at school, think about just in life, think about in our friendship groups, adult bullies still exist. People are still bullying each other. So I want to talk a little bit about how not to become a bully. Like, I had to make sure that I didn't, clap back at her. Yes, I think you should put bullies in their place, but I didn't want to take her experience of trying to bully me and then sour me, and then I go out to become a bully and to be mean and negative, because usually that's what happens. Usually people who are bullies are people who have been bullied themselves. They don't love who they are. They're insecure in who they are and all of that stuff. Hey, everybody. Carla, yes, Pastor Joan Jones. Who's messing with my princess, right? Yes, exactly. So let's talk about it. How do we not become those bullies? And if you see that you have traits in you that are bullying, like this girl did, what are some things you can do? And then we'll talk about how to deal with bullies. The first is self awareness. So check your own insecurities and identify what are the things about yourself that makes you feel not good enough and less than. Because clearly she was talking about my body because she did not like her own body. She was insecure. Clearly she felt the need to, sort of pinpoint the only other minority there because she felt uncomfortable being a minority, right? So have self awareness and check your own insecurities. If she was actually self aware and she knew that she had insecurities about her body or about being a minority in a space where there's not a lot of them, then she would not feel the need to make somebody else feel bad or to put somebody else down. So the first step is self awareness. Know what are your own triggers, what are your own insecurities, so then you don't go out and project them onto other people. The second is be clear on where you get your power from. So if you know that you get your power from yourself, from within, that you respect yourself, you have worth and you have value, and you validate who you are, then you don't need to go out and try and get a laugh at somebody else's expense. You don't need to go out and think that you have to have a gang or group mentality against somebody else in order for you to have power, for you to have clout, for you to be feared, right? Which is just like fake respect. So know where you get your power from and be clear on who you are. Because when you get your power from yourself, when you respect yourself, when you validate yourself, you don't feel the need to go out and make other people feel small. So then you can feel big. Because that's what bullies do. They feel small within themselves. So they think, well, I need to bring you down to where I'm at so I can feel better about myself. It's all rooted in in those insecurities. The third is to be mindful of other people's experience of you. This kind of ties into self awareness, but in a different way. Like, know what is the experience when someone talks to you or interacts with you? Are you cold? Are you open? Are you mean? Are you dismissive? Are you understanding? Do you listen? Are you empathetic? Right? Be mindful of how do other people experience you. Do people leave talking to you and they feel good about themselves? They feel heard and they feel seen and they feel validated and they feel community and connection, even if it's just a, first time meeting somebody. You could meet somebody for the first time and you're like, wow, what a good person. You kind of feel their energy. Or are you like, standoffish and rude and like, well, what do you do? Who are you? Who do you think you are? And all this stuff. And like, I don't know you, no new friends, you know? So be mindful of how do people experience you. Be mindful of that and consciously decide. I'll talk about myself personally right now. So I'm actually very introverted. Small talk is really, really hard for me. And so sometimes when you can be introverted and it's hard to have, small talk or you have social anxiety, sometimes it comes across as being like bitchy or cold or icy or standoffish or stuck up, but it's not that at all. So I'm very mindful to not come across that way because I don't mean to, but sometimes people, especially people, think you're a certain way and then you're not. So I'm very mindful to make sure that like I smile and I'm open and I deal with my own stuff. If I'm having social anxiety, that's on me. It doesn't give me a free pass to make other people feel like I'm being dismissive of them. So I can still be my authentic self, I can still be me, but I'm also mindful of how does this person experience me? How am I coming across? Read the room and take ownership of the energy you bring to it. And then the fourth is work on yourself. Do the work, go to therapy, get a life coach, do your self-care practices, get a good support group or community or system together, because when you work on yourself and you have your self-love, you have your self-esteem, you know who you are and you know you're worthy, then bullying is not even a thought in your mind. It doesn't occur to you to put somebody else down to make yourself feel better because you already feel good about who you are. You're already big. You're already up. you're already enough. So you don't have to get your validation from putting somebody else down or gang and group mentality, right? Okay. So those are how to not to become a bully. But let's talk about what happens when you are being bullied, right? So I'll talk about what I did in that experience. The first thing I did was I honored the fact that she was being really rude. I did not dismiss how I felt. I think particularly as adults, and sometimes even, and we're kind of taught this as children, like, oh, that's just boys being boys, or that's just how that person is, or whatever the situation may be, and the bad behavior gets excused, and your feelings get dismissed. Like, don't be so sensitive. Get a thick skin, clap back or whatever it is, right? And it's dismissing your feelings and saying like that life is just hard. It's not fair. Dog eat dog, right? But no, 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 no. You honor how you felt. You can recognize that what they said was wrong. And then you reclaim your power. Get clear on the fact that if someone is bullying or putting you down, it is nothing to do with you and it's everything to do with them. It is their own insecurity, it's their own sense of lack, it's their own sense of not good enough, it's their own sense of trying to get control or trying to get respect or trying to get whatever because they don't have it within themselves. They feel empty. So they're trying to fill themselves up by taking you down. So don't internalize it. Don't think that someone putting you down means that there's something wrong with you. That's not true. It means that there's something wrong with them. So if you have those situations where you're being bullied or things like that, first, honor your feelings. It's hurtful and it's not right. And there's no excuse for it. And two, don't internalize it. It's about them. It's not about you. And three, check them. You have to check them. Because a bully will continue to bully until they get checked. And when I say check them, I don't mean physical. I don't mean violence. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, what I did in that moment, I did all of that. I was like, wow. In my mind, I was like, what she said was really rude. That's really about her. And I forgot what I said, but whatever I said, I definitely clearly put her in her place. And I was just like, no, like, that's not funny. That's not cool. Like, like, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but like, it's not going to fly. You have to check a bully, put them in their place, be a mirror to them, show them what they're doing. I don't mean bully back, but I mean stand up for yourself. You don't speak to me that way. You just tell people, you don't speak to me that way. That is not my name. That's not who I am. You don't talk to me like that. Are you having a good day? Are you okay? Maybe you need to go, talk to someone. Check them. Because people will continue to walk over you. People will continue to bully you if you allow them to. And this is it's not your fault. It's not blaming you. It's not criticizing you. But it's saying you are in the position of power to show someone you are not allowed to disrespect me. And if you disrespect me again, then you don't no longer have the privilege to be in my presence. And if you have to be around people, maybe if it's work or school or a social group, you don't have to really engage with them. You can be in someone's presence without engaging with them. Pay them dust. Pay them dust. Because remember, you are powerful. And you get to decide who has access to your space and your energy and your presence. And if someone isn't respecting you, then they don't have that privilege. And if it gets really bad, pull a Karen and tell on them. May I speak to the manager? You know what I mean? May I speak to the manager? No, 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 no. Because how you feel and your well-being is your best and first priority. And don't let anyone try and take that away from you. No one. So there you have it. Those are my tips on adult bullies do exist, how not to be one, and how to check one if you need to. So put down any questions or comments you guys have below. Anyone have any questions or want to chime in before we get off? No? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. This was such a fun episode. And again, remember, as always, be sure to subscribe. Jojo says, I love that. Pay them dust. Yes, pay them dust. If someone is not being respectful to you, pay them dust. I have the gift of goodbye. If you have to be in the space, that doesn't mean you have to give them your energy. And people know when you take away your energy from them, you really disempower them. Pay them dust. Make your presence, make your energy, make your attention very, very expensive. If someone wants access to you, make it very expensive. You are the VIP section. Make it very expensive. So yes. Oh, okay, Vaka. She's like, completely dropped one friend because of that. Good. Good. You know what? This is your one life. Be mindful and decisive about who you allow to have access to you. Because it matters. The energy you consume and the energy you give really, really matters. Vaka says she couldn't even find me online if she wanted to. Oh, you paid her all the dust. You paid her all the dust. Yes. Yay. Okay, so you guys, thank you so much. Again, if you're listening on the podcast, be sure to subscribe and share, but also join us over on YouTube. That's when you can join the conversation in real time, ask questions, and get some one-on-one feedback. And speaking of one-on-one feedback, if you need some coaching and extra support, go ahead and book some coaching with me below. You can grab this Journey to Self-Love journal, and there's also other tons of free support and great things. So be sure to check out the description box and the show notes. Subscribe to my channel and like this video and share with a friend. I love you guys so much. And as always, until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram @Candy Washington. Let's go.